We have a couple of questions from the web platform. One question, I take it, refers to the picture of the value chain, where we can see that there are actually parallel value chains are serving the same markets. And the question reads, how do we actually compare these parallel value chains to take a decision in which value chain we are going to intervene? How do we sort of assess to the benefit of how many people which value chain is the best for an intervention?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and you are right. This is also a decision-making question. If you look at the rice sector, the rice industry in Nigeria and also in other African countries, you see that it is not even just two, there are even three, sometimes three different kinds of channels with yet another level of technology. There are also very small scale mills which don't appear on this value chain map and have yet a lower type of investment. That is not included here. And in fact, it is a big question what to go for. I think it depends if we invest public money, which is the case for GIZ, obviously. It depends finally on the two criteria that I have mentioned already earlier. We want to achieve a social impact, and that depends on our reading of the poverty situation, meaning that we want to create jobs for poor people, we want to do something for smallholders out in the rural areas and poor consumers. If that is the social objective of value chain development, then we'll have to look at those channels and find out where are those poor people. And then, if that channel has an economic opportunity, it has some potential to develop and grow, the question is, would that growth translate into business models that make money? So we have to satisfy the financial side of it, as well as looking for the social implications. And that is indeed an issue here. I think the selection of the upper part has been done because this is smallholders that could be integrated with millers and have a chance of intensifying, whereas in the subsistence-oriented lower channel, you don't have that same demand pull as coming from the integrated rice miller. I think that has been one of the ideas to say, let's go for the first case because we have a greater chance of involving and having more smallholders included in that system who would be able to make more money. I think that is the reason why that has been selected, and then the consequences follow. If you say, okay, we are going for that value chain and we want to produce more, you have to invest in the milling capacity. Now, in this case, we know that the milling capacity is already there, so the financial problem for the mill is not that relevant, but the linkage effect, the business linkage between smallholders and mills. So there's also that opportunity involved that the mills exist already. If this was a situation in which you would think about investing in new mills, I think the story would look different. But as the capacity is already there and you have the interest of integrated rice millers at filling their capacity, you have also a different starting point for that particular strategy.
Yeah, maybe just to comment on this, there are actually examples of projects which at the very beginning of their operations are looking into different channels of the value chain and how many players are available in those channels that they could partner with. And they are then estimating if we are partnering with so many players in that specific channels, to how many smallholders are we reaching out, and what increase in income can we impact at the level of smallholders, and turning this into figures. And this is sort of a return on investment calculation, so that you know I'm putting in so much money as a project and I am likely to generate so much more additional income at the smallholder levels if I can achieve those partnerships.
Yeah, exactly. That's the strategic rationale.
I have another question from the web platform, which asks, can you apply the business model analysis to service providers? And if so, what do I have to take into account?
The principles are the same. So the value proposition would then be a service. We have seen the example of the service milling of the other case, the Atike case, you invest into an electric mill, mechanical mill, and you can sell the service of milling. Now, it is not that profitable. It's more profitable to make attiqué, but basically it is one value proposition that they make. And all the rest of the boxes would be filled in accordingly. In order to provide that service and get the milling fee, you have to have that capacity, you have to have the key resources, you have your business processes, or your key activities, which would look different, because your key activity is finding your customers, then make sure your mill is running, and that you have people coming to you in a particular organized way, so that you can fill your capacity one after the other. So in fact, it boils down to the same boxes and same considerations, and the business model canvas could be utilized similarly to physical products. I don't think that there is a systematic difference. This is also one of the reasons why we talk of a value proposition and not of a product, because if you say product, you could easily say now this is a physical product, but it is a value proposition because it includes value, services that are of value to customers, but that are not physical necessarily.
Right, I have a last question from the web, which asks, if we increase productivity and we want to maintain a competitive price, then how are we going to take into consideration environmental issues that might be related to that?
Yeah, and of course, also a very good question. You know that the numbers that we are utilizing here are practically accounting numbers. So it looks at the internal calculation of the enterprise. It does not include external cost. And that has always been the big criticism, that if we don't take care of external cost, we are not really calculating correctly, because if that business operation creates waste or pollutes, then there will be cost to others. Now, it doesn't change much for the enterprise, because they still have to be profitable. But what it changes is that we have to make sure that there is a regulatory framework that prevents people from polluting. So that brings us back to the policy solution. We had that earlier.
Well, I just think we have to differentiate between policy solution and the legal due diligence check.
Mm-hmm.
Because policy is about policy formulation. Legal due diligence is looking on what is the legal framework saying already, and do I operate within that framework?
Mm-hmm.
There are two different things.
Okay, maybe that should be added.
Yeah.
I agree. It does not appear we don't speak in this presentation of due diligence check. Thank you very much for that proposition. Maybe we should really systematically put that in as one step in the analysis. Mm-hmm. Not only what is your business model, do you make money, but are you also complying with the regulatory framework?
Because you have to think about certain risk scenarios.
Yes.
I mean, here you have also risk scenarios in the case if there is a bad harvest, this big mill will never be able to be profitable, apart from others. And in the case of legal due diligence, I agree, it always depends on context and scale. The bigger the operation, the more serious this has to be done. But I would think even at a larger scale, there are certain major must-haves when it comes to legal due diligence.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We'll include that. And it's true, we have to look for it in order to be on the safe side. Otherwise, we may indeed be overlooking some important fact on environmental implications of those business models.